welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Blow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back to another episode of your Morning Throners podcast. Don't forget to like, share, listen on every podcast platform out there. We're here talking Dany 6 as we're still in Vase Dothrak, and we take a little trip to the market.
Kyle, what were your thoughts on the chapter? Did you like it? Did you
Overall, it was decent, and it kind of is. It's tying together all of the threads here, so it's kind of bringing all the stories are going to come together.
Do you mean tying west and east, pretty much?
Yeah. Well, we've been hearing about all these different pieces in motion, and then so now Rob's moving south, and now Dany's moving west. It's kind of everybody's coming. It's our characters might actually meet each other for once here. It left me a little upset because it was Dothraki, don't cross the water. Dothraki, don't do this. He's no fucking way am I getting on a boat. He leaves, he comes back. Oh no, somebody tried to poison her, and now we're going west, and I'm getting on a fucking boat immediately. It was a little flip of a switch, too fast.
Yeah, it's literally the first thing he says after he comes back.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that, I guess, a little bit more at the end. What I was gonna say was getting into this. I don't think we have a glow recap for the last Dany. So, does somebody want to say what happened in the last Dany? And also, something kind of happens here that was set up in previous King's Landing chapters.
Yeah, Illyrio shows up with a letter from him.
Yeah, so the letter shows up about the poisoning, or about just killing Dany.
Robert.
Yeah. And what happened in the last Dany chapter, I think, was her eating the heart and brother
Daenerys died. Yeah, they gave him the golden crown. It was definitely the last time we saw Daenerys. Yeah,
so they've been in Vase Dothrak for 3 or 4 chapters of Dany's now, probably about half of Dany's book so far. So that's just where we're at getting in. And this one starts off with Dany and Drogo. I think they just finished some lovemaking.
finishing up the deed?
That was actually going to be my recap for the last Dany chapter, was just that she got fucked by Drogo. And you're always going to be right.
Yeah, that always happens at some point.
Every one of these, it has to.
Drogo's not doing anything if he's not starting it with banging Daenerys.
Or ending it, yeah. So he hops off her. She's admiring, his bronzeness of his skin, his, scars.
He's just a stud. Talk about his just, whole attributes. What is he? 6'7", maybe 7 foot. We don't even know how tall he is.
He's massive, whatever he is.
Just ripped, long, black, straight hair.
Literally hair never been cut in his life before.
And he's 27, we decided? Around there.
Is that what we said, 27?
He's at about 30, yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He's The Rock, basically, if The Rock had a full head of hair.
And it's weird because as soon as they're done lovemaking, they're in this argument about going to Westeros. What, you don't like lovemaking, Glow? As soon as they're done, immediately, the first thing that one of them says to each other is an argument. We're not going west is what Drogo says or something like that, right? She's arguing that the stallion,
because it's more of a chore at this point, because he's bookended everything with the smash, it's kind of just oh well, here we go again, it's not.
Yeah, I guess.
Let me have my cigarette
they
first,
just
right?
they started this and then got into an angry fuck, and then just as soon as it's over, just pick up immediately where they left off,
she said
everything.
She said it was prophesized the stallion will ride to the ends of the earth, and he's it ends at the Black Salt Sea.
And she's nah, dude, there's a bunch of stuff over there, and she's and there's ships with. She describes ships as wooden horses with 100 legs that can carry them across the water. And Drogo's nah, he doesn't want to hear anything about that. He's I'm just gonna go kill some shit.
It is very curious that I get it that as the Khalasar, they believe since the horse can't drink it, we're not touching that. That's bad omen.
Yeah.
But if you really think you're the man conqueror, I don't know, any great conqueror in our actual history, they want to just conquer everything they possibly can, right? It's we're going.
Yeah, but that stopped at the sea for a really long time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it sounds like Westeros and
That's terrifying. And the other side of it is like, if there's nobody really coming from there either, like, what's it matter to you what's over there? He and they even get into it a little later.
Did Genghis Khan like go across?
He went to Japan
or no?
And definitely that is
he did go to Japan.
Yeah, and that's definitely a bigger voyage than Westeros to Essos.
But they didn't know that anything. They didn't know that anything was across the sea.
That's the other point. And like Kyle was saying, it's like a different story when there's no one like landing on the shores from that other place. But like, there's a lot of trade between Westeros and Essos here. But again, it's true. Like the Dothraki's not really about trade. It seems like they literally just want to fuck people up. Like that's all they care about is like killing people.
Yeah, for sure. And they have plenty of people to do that too here, is what he's getting at, I guess. Like, and he knows what's here.
Yeah, he's like,
and
there's
Jor
people to kill here. Why would we go other places to find other people
like,
to kill? Like, there's horses to ride, like grass for the horses to eat here. Like, we kill people here. We fuck in the middle. Like, we just do whatever the fuck we want here. Why do we got to go somewhere else? Is I think what Drogo's saying. And I think that's maybe why he has this flip to 180. I don't think he's like hard set on not doing it right now. I think he's just kind of like, there's no point. He's like, you stupid woman wife. You have no idea what you're talking about. Like, we're so like, look at how good we have it. Like, why the hell would we go? Like, what you're saying sounds like a lot of trouble. And he's like, you're just great. Like, he's just dismissing it. I don't think he's like set against it. He's just kind of dismissing her as like kind of a child, first off, because she is, and just be like, it's not really important. I think.
But he says like, what does he say here? He says there will be no.
We will speak no more of wooden horses and iron chairs.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah, I think he's just like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. It's like one of the little kids like asking his dad for something like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. Like, I'm going hunting. I'm going to go kill a fucking lion.
To me, it sounded like it was kind of like would be against the nature of the Dothraki to ever want to go across that ocean.
I thought so too, but like I'm not 100% sure it's like that. I think it fits better, especially kind of with this flip of the switch, like you're saying at the end. That it's not like super necessarily against them. They just never had a reason to do it before, and that's why when he comes back and now he's like, holy fuck, these are sure. I don't really give a fuck what's over there, but there's people over there trying to kill my wife and my unborn son
and stars
and my unborn son. Like, I'm gonna go fuck them up now. Like, they asked for it. I think it might be kind of like that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. It's hard to tell because Drogo like isn't very good with words.
Eloquent.
Yeah, eloquent
speech.
So it's kind of hard to. He's like me. It's hard to tell what he's saying sometimes. But yeah. So then, where's he going?
He's going out to hunt a big ass white lion.
A
Harkakar.
Yeah.
Hakar.
I don't even know how it's spelled. Harakar.
It's like Robert going out to get his board.
Rarik. I think that H was silent too, the first H. Rakkar.
That sounds right.
It's like the Kaya Naya.
Yeah,
that we read about later.
I didn't even bother reading it. I just was like, okay, that's too many letters. Who cares?
I was about to skip over it, and I was like, no, I'm going to try to read it.
But her whole hope is that if he comes back with a lion, he'll be in such a good mood that he'll listen to her about. And I don't know why. Like, would that really play a difference? Like, oh, cool, I killed a lion. He's probably killed like 30 of these.
I don't know. This one seems like a pretty badass, like albino white lion. I'm not sure. These might just be a common thing in Essos. We don't know.
Yeah, it seems like that's their tradition is to come back and
they come back and they're all drunk, and he's like, sure, yeah, we're going west now too. You know, like, yeah, fuck yeah, we can take over anything. We killed this giant lion. So I see where she's coming from. I think it's kind of like when you had to ask permission for stuff. You always wait for the right opportunity.
Also, I don't know if it's different because maybe they're like Vasothrax seems like it's a little bit more like wilderness, but fucking Robert Baratheon's gone for literally like 3 weeks on a hunt, right? And Drogo does this hunt in a day. One day, gone and back with this huge ass white lion. Robert Baratheon's gone.
Yeah, and he's not dead.
Well,
it's grasslands versus like forests.
Well, yeah, you obviously got you got to leave the castle and like get like a day or two's ride from the castle at least. But like,
I guarantee you one thing: if Khal Drogo did happen to get injured on this hunt, that his protectors or his blood riders wouldn't come back fucking carrying his body and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
They'd be dead. Yeah, isn't that their thing? They die. Or no, they're supposed to make sure that he gets burned and then they burn themselves with him or something like that.
Something like that. So as we go on, she starts to get ready, and she usually didn't like her handmaids getting her ready because, I don't know, she felt uncomfortable, probably like a 13-year-old girl, like getting scrubbed down and shit like that. But now that she's pregnant, she kind of likes it because she can just be kind of fat, feet swollen up, and like not have to do anything for herself. And she asked the one to go get Ser Jorah to come help. She wants to get in his ear so that he helps convince her to travel west. And Jorah's kind of like, I don't know, Khaleesi. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna happen that way.
He's not going to listen to me. I don't know what you want me to do.
He basically had this conversation with Viserys already.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't you remember what happened to your brother? Like,
It wasn't like a trade, right? They don't owe you anything. Like, he might do it in his own time because he loves you, but like, don't press him on it. Like, that's not how this works. And this is where Drogo also says, or Jorah also says, and I thought this was kind of interesting, that he probably, like, Drogo probably doesn't even realize like how big Westeros really is. Like, he thinks that they're probably just like spare islands.
That's what I was saying before when we were talking about him, like why he wouldn't want to go over there. Like, they think it's like just like a couple little jacks. They have to know it's like
decently big because like there is a lot of trade from Westeros, and I don't know how how much they know about that. But even
I don't
in, like,
think he can truly understand. Like, they've never seen anything like it before, so why would he ever know what it is? So
for sure,
he could do a lot of plundering and looting.
Bird in the hand, two in the bush kind of thing. Like where he knows what he's got here. He knows what he's working with. That's a big, long-ass journey across some poison water.
So she thinks, so Jorah had his bare island, but what was home to her? A few tales, names recited as solemnly as the words of a prayer, the fading memory of a red door. Was Faith Dothrak to be her home forever? And when she looked at the crones of the Dosh Galene, was she looking at her future? And that's what Dany wonders. So she's like, Jorah, like at this point, I think she's thinking that she doesn't even know what her home is. She's thinking that, like, even what she's begging to go back to Westeros, but she doesn't even know that, right? And even here she says the Red Door. That was what she said in her first chapter. That was when she lived in Bravos, at the house with the Red Door in Bravos, like right after they fled. So, like, she's conflicting, like, all kind of the different homes she's had. She doesn't even know where her home is.
I mean, it's hard to even say that Westeros is your home when you don't really remember anything about
exactly.
it. Like,
she has no memories of it or anything.
I think that's the whole point. And so this is when Jorah notices that she's kind of like down in the dumps and like, he's like, hey, let's go shopping. Little
let's go shopping.
Teenage girls love shopping, right? So they go to this, and he suggests this because the Western market, which is where all like the goods from the West come, they just had this like huge caravan come in led by this like special captain guy. So she gets like pretty hyped up and she goes to get a litter. Again, kind of at a dissension Jeff was making earlier. She used to not like the litter. She used to like ride on horseback because it's like the more like Dothraki thing to do. But Drogo's not around, so.
I mean, I really feel like if she wasn't like becoming a Dothraki kind of and like accepting it, she'd be like off for the litter. Like, yeah, carry my ass around. I'm fucking Daenerys.
You mean like if she was in Westeros?
Yeah, like Viserys would be doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Viserys would definitely be doing
right,
this.
And I think she would be too, because that's probably just what she's used to is like rich people or royalty getting carried around.
They're not like sure she has a rich name, but like
she hasn't really been.
I don't know like what her without the Dothraki. I don't know what situation she would be in, but like unless it markedly approved from Pentos in some way, like it kind of did with the Dothraki, I doubt she's in a situation where she's being carried around in litters. But I understand what you're saying, like. If she's in like King's Landing and she's a queen or something like this at the same age, she's not riding a horse to go to the Baylor or whatever.
I mean, really, I think she's just been told the custom of like, oh no, royalty doesn't. Even if she doesn't have royal things, like once she ever got in that position, I think she'd expect to be carried around.
Yeah,
she's kind of the. I don't want to say anti, but I'm gonna say anti. Like the anti-Sansa at this point, where like she's trying to push for that life of like not having to do shit and like everything is just so happy and free and whatnot. And like all my dreams are coming true. And now like she's the other way where she's like becoming hardened and
she's kind of having to, not like to a super extent, but like she's kind of having to earn some of her way. Like she had to eat a freaking heart, like to earn a lot of the respect of people.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Like the what I'm sorry? Sansa kind of where she's kind of the opposite. Like shit Starks, like they used to be hard asses and all that, and then she's kind of trying to get out of that.
Yeah. Sansa's more of like a southern girl than
Southern Belle.
Yeah. So, and even for a second, while she's riding on the way to this market, she thinks like, man, you know what? Like, if I wasn't the blood of the dragon, and if Westeros wasn't my right, I'd have it pretty good as a Khaleesi. And it's just kind of like, it kind of shows that she does have that little bit of like Viserys in her. And it's like, she should just be thankful that like when she first thought she was getting sold to Drogo, she thought she was going to be like a slave, and she like kind of still is a slave. But like she's thinking like, I'm riding around in a litter. I'm going to have like basically one of the most powerful children in the world. Like if I wasn't the blood of the dragon and didn't have this whole like I still got to conquer a whole continent thing, I'd have it pretty good right now. I think that just points out how she still feels that entitlement, like kind of like Viserys did.
I think that's more of just him having poisoned her.
You think like Viserys? Yeah, well, I mean, but it's still like, whether it comes from him or not, it's kind of that same mentality, right?
It's her legacy, and she feels as though that she needs to carry it out.
But he instilled that in her. Like if she didn't know that, she wouldn't have these feelings. I guess you know what I'm saying. Like this was all he ever talked about was taking the throne back and whatnot. And so
exactly. So she feels like, I don't know if she feels like she owes it to him, but she feels like it's like her right or her responsibility in the same way that he did, I think. So they get to this market. It's like a big market. They kind of describe it a lot, like a huge, giant square with like, it seems like stalls all around it. And
there's like two parts of it, right? There's an eastern market and a western market.
Yeah, so they're at the western one. I think there are like two separate like areas of the town.
Well, I think, don't they start at the eastern?
I think their camp is closer to the eastern, but I think they're like two separate parts of the town. I don't think it's like two parts of the market. You either go to one or go to the other. You're like going to.
And the eastern market's pretty much just Esso stuff, right? Like Esso home or goods and.
Yeah, so like you
like shit from the Ashai.
Ashai, Karth over there, like east of Vastothrak. Basically anything east of Vastothrak versus west. Even like the western market is even stuff from like Pentos and the free cities. So yeah, it's kind of just like anything west of Vastothrak or east of Vastothrak is determined. And they kind of say that Dany likes going to the eastern market because there's like weird shit that you've never seen before because
she's never even thought of, right?
Yeah.
But the big thing in the western market is that she smells home.
Yeah, she says it smells like home. What's the smell that she says?
It's like pepper
salty and pepper and
garlic and pepper. Sharp odors are garlic and pepper.
That just means Westeros knows how to spice their food up a little bit.
and they know
give their shit some flavor.
And she said she recognizes they used to love the bazaars, like I guess like some other type of like giant market.
Is that just like another market?
Yeah, it's like a giant market
that's what I was wondering.
Free cities that she used to go to with her brother, and they used to get like some type of like meat on a stick, and Dany gets some of that and like buys it for her handmaidens or something, right? Like sausage on a stick.
How pissed is she? How pissed is she when she figures out that it's the same type of meat she's been eating for the last X amount of time?
Fucking pork? Are you
like what?
Me?
I wanted some fat ass pig, and she's just been eating horse for the last months.
So Jorah, and before I think some of this is happening, Jorah excuses himself to go get this letter, and Dany's like, "Oh, I'll come with you," and Jorah's like, "Nah, I'll go by myself. It's cool." Is there something like suspicious there? Because like he ends up showing her the letter at the end anyway.
I mean, she says it's curious, which is like, did he?
Well, she thinks that like maybe he's gonna go get a woman or something afterwards.
Yeah.
How does Kyle feel about it?
I don't know. I mean, before any of this happened, like at the time, I definitely thought it was because he is kind of working for.
Yeah, we've heard it. Varys gets information. Has gotten some information from him, right, earlier in this book.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of on the side of, I guess, Robert. At this point, at least,
because it's kind of hard to tell where his allegiances lie.
The way that it was read.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what, especially when they like have him step away here. I think that's definitely what they're trying to get you at.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the point of it. But I mean, like that was definitely what I was thinking. But then he comes back and like he's the one that stops all the plan. So I don't know. I mean. It's kind of an ambiguous. I'm sure it's going to tie into something.
I don't know. Like, it's definitely more ambiguous in the show because he doesn't like give the letter to Dany at the end. Like, he just like gives her the letter at the end of this chapter, right? So, like, is this like where he decides I'm not going to help the Baratheons anymore?
I don't know. Here's the other thing: is if Dany doesn't say curious, like if she doesn't question it, would we question it?
I'm not sure.
Well, then it would be more normal for him to go get letters. It sounds like he's trying to be secretive about this. Like
in the show, they make it so like Jorah like goes away, gets the letter, comes back, saves the poisoning, but then doesn't really confess anything to Dany. So like I don't know. It seems like in the show, it seems like this is kind of like Jorah being like choosing a side almost, and like coming like clean to Dany and being like, yo, look, like here's this letter from Illyrio saying this shit. But also the way like, so when he gets this letter, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about this poisoning first. But the way he like explains this letter to Dany, the wording of it's weird, and I don't quite understand it. But let's get into like the rest of the market, and also I didn't mention it, but so Dany has something called a Khaz, I think KHAS,
Kaz.
and it's kind of like a personal guard, and the people in her guard, and they'll show up a couple times. Yeah, a few of them shown up already are Jogo, Ago, Kaharo, and Korra. So those people are like you'll hear them. They're kind of like the Blood Riders to Dany without like as hardcore of a
Queen's
Without
Guard.
being actual Blood Riders.
Well, they're younger. They sound younger, and they're trying to prove themselves, probably.
Yep. So basically, they walk up to a wine merchant, and he's talking about all these different types of wines, from like Dorn and Arbor and Lysine, I think. He's got like a thimble giving out free samples. Dany goes up and she's like, "Oh yeah, I want to try some," but she says it in the Valyrian tongue, and this throws the guy off a little bit, and he's like, "Oh," I forget exactly what he says, but she's basically, "No, I'm from Westeros," and that's when one of her handmaidens comes in and calls her out, Daenerys Stormborn, House Targaryen, blah, 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 and then clicks in this dude's head, "Hey, man, I have a great wine for you. So special, in fact, that I gotta go get this real quick."
I mean, this guy's kind of a fool because it shouldn't take that much to find out that this is Daenerys Targaryen, right? You've got a Dothraki lady.
Yeah, she says like
Hold
she's
on.
like tan.
You've got a
and stuff.
Dothraki lady. She's not that tan. She can't be that tan. She's got to be noticeably different, and she's got white fucking hair.
The
Like,
white hair
come on,
should set
bro.
her apart, but like Doria has blonde hair too, and Doria's like right here with them.
Come on, bro. Like, do better. Do your job better as a wine
And
assassin.
she says she almost looks like a Dothraki because of her skin tone at this point, and I don't know how accurate that is.
However, I will say that at the market, there's probably tons of like
Weird
just, like,
looking
random
people.
people
Different
from
people.
everywhere.
Different people. So, like...
But to Jeff's point,
And
she is being
dresses as Dothraki.
she is being ridden around in a
He's there for
palanquin.
one
She's
job.
pregnant. This guy knows that his target is pregnant, right? Like
A pregnant, white-haired girl that is a Khaleesi that will be followed by people. Like, how many other people are being followed by...
Yeah, but I don't think he was planning on Daenerys Targaryen today.
yeah,
I think
Absolutely, he was.
just
He should always be
no,
ready.
this is a target
That's
of
why he's there.
opportunity.
That's why.
This is
that's
why
he's a
he
bad
is an
assassin. He got
average
caught
ass
and killed.
assassin. He should have known. He should have known, and that's all I'll say.
Okay. So he pulls out this wine, and where's the wine from? It's got a sigil on it.
Grapes.
Grapes.
The red wines?
Red wines.
Arbor?
Yeah, it's from the
Is it
Arbor.
Arbor?
Yep. Red wine sigil. And Dany is actually kind of excited about this because Drogo has acquired a taste for wine. Right? She said that he started to get like they got a bunch of wine from somewhere. He like sacked a town and like got a bunch of wine or something, and now he's getting all drunk on it all the time. And
Didn't they like sack like an Arbor town or like something that had like a whole case of
somehow
Arbor
they
wine?
they got a
She said his visits to the free cities had given him a
Okay.
taste for good wine so
yeah,
far.
gotcha. Okay. So she's like, yeah, awesome. Aggo, go get that cask and take it back to the cart. Aggo goes to grab it, and then out of nowhere, Jorah shows up and is like, nah, stop that.
Yeah. So Jorah, the hairy man, black haired man, walks up and is like, "Hey, how about let me try this wine real quick before we take this out." So the guy pops it open with his mallet, pours one out. The whole time he's being all fidgety and.
Well, at first he's like,
this
this wine's not
is
even for
only
you.
fit for the Khaleesi.
And then finally pops it open. He's like, well, it has to breathe first. Just keeps taking all
Give
these
it a little
excuses.
time, man. He's like, you know what? Jorah's about to take a sip, and then he's like, actually, no, you take the sip first, little bitch. And that's when Daenerys steps in too, and she's like, yeah, fucking drink it, pussy. And That's when
You
the
won't.
dude, yeah, you won't, bitch. And the dude at that point, he's about to take a sip, and he just, I guess, throws everything, knocks the cask over, and tries
Well, he
to
throws it
hightail
right
over
at
there.
He tries to
Daenerys
throw it
too,
at
which
her.
is. I don't know if that's an A-list play because maybe like everyone kind of like worries about her, right? They want to go protect her, so maybe it's a great play.
I mean, he's pretty much dead at this point anyway. To be honest, what he should have done was just fucking drank the poison.
Drank the shit. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. At this point, he might just be like a cross-country runner, and they'll just let him like run for the rest of his life. Sounds like he's gonna get food and shit, so he just has to run.
There's one thing about the Dothraki, they're just gonna let somebody run away.
So he throws this thing, hops over the table, and like bumps into her one guy. I don't know. I don't remember which one specifically, but, and he like goes to grab for his sword, and he's like, "Fuck, I forgot." I don't know my sword because we're in base talk track. But the one guy, Jehogo, does have his whip, and he just whips the guy's foot, and he lands on his face, and there's like guards there immediately. And Dany fell down in the middle of it, and Eerie or one of them stops her from falling on her belly or something. And then like the captain of like that like caravan who comes up with like all the men who have this guy, and he's just like, "Yep, take him to Drogo. Like have him wait for Drogo, and Dany, you can have all it. Dany, you can have all shit. One. Yeah, just take all shit. You just better hope he doesn't have like 2 or 3 extra poison casts in the back that like Dany and Drogo just like pop open one night, like thinking it's like the next."
I was honestly just thinking that it's like, all right. Everyone, one person each night gets to take the cast.
I mean, honestly, they should keep this guy around to be like, all right, you're our wine taster.
That's
like, you get one fucking sip.
Make him drink a glass of each wine first. He'll be begging for the poison one after a day or two of this.
You guys.
So this is when Dany asked Jorah how she knew or how he knew.
Well, they go back. They go back to camp to talk alone.
Yeah, and he says,
he says it first, and then he says, we're not talking here.
I'll tell you when we're back.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So they start heading back, and she's like, the baby's like rumbling in her tummy, and she's like, "You're the blood of the dragon, dude. Chill out,
yeah,
bro."
So there's nothing to fear.
Well, the big thing is, it's like she's scared too.
She
like she feels fear for the first time because
since Viserys,
since Viserys, because she feels, I guess, threatened for her life pretty much. But not that Viserys was gonna kill her; he just gonna beat her. But she felt fear again, which is something she never wanted to feel.
And then let's read this quick quote where she asked Jorah about the letter. "Tell me,"
she commanded as she lowered herself onto her cushions.
"Was it the usurper?"
"Yes."
The knight drew out a folded parchment.
"A letter to Viserys from Magister Illyrio. Robert Baratheon offers a lands and lordships for your death, or your brother's."
"My brother?"
Her sob was half a laugh.
"He does not know yet, does he? The usurper owes Drogo a lordship."
This time her laugh was half a sob. She hugged herself protectively.
"And me, you said. Only me?"
"You and the child,"
Sir Jorah said, grim.
"No, he cannot have my son."
She would not weep, she decided. She would not shiver with fear. The usurper has woken the dragon now, she told herself. And her eyes went to the dragon's eggs, resting in the nest of dark velvet. The shifting lamplight limned their stony scales, and shimmering motes of jade and scarlet and gold swam in the air around them, like courtiers around a king.
That's good. So yeah, when she asks about the letter, he says, "A letter to Viserys from Magister Illyrio. Robert Baratheon offers lands and lordships for your death or your brother's." What does that mean? A letter to Viserys from Magister Illyrio.
It was Illyrio.
It was like a warning, right? Like, hey, like you better.
I don't think he actually showed her the letter.
You better put your head on a swivel, because.
But this, I still don't understand. This is Viserys should be telling Illyrio about this.
Viserys is dead.
Yeah. It's not Varys.
Oh, Viserys.
This is Magister Illyrio sending a warning.
I was thinking Varys.
Letter.
I thought that was Varys. I thought it was Magister Illyrio sending a letter to Varys.
Yeah, it was Illyrio hooking up his guy here.
Gotcha.
Saying, hey, watch your back.
So Illyrio got the info from Varys and was sending it to Viserys. But Jorah got it instead of Viserys. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, because Viserys is dead.
It's just Nelson not being a clear reader. But so she tells Jorah to bounce once he builds the fire, and she's like,
well, yeah, he's like, light a fire and get out of here. Because she was looking at the
It's
she was looking
fucking
at the eggs.
hot.
Weird.
Why do you want a fire?
I'm gonna get these motherfucking dragons, and her idea is to put them in the fire.
Kyle, do you think they were gonna hatch?
So I mean, I have the disadvantage of knowing they are in the show. So I mean, how do you
Spoiler.
not? But yeah, spoiler.
So did you think they were gonna hatch here?
I thought the red one might move. I don't know that they were gonna hatch, but I thought it might have started something, and it might still have started.
You
something.
didn't think it was gonna ruin them, as
No, I
Danny
didn't.
thinks for a second.
No, I didn't think it was gonna ruin.
So she puts these things on the fire, and she's like half afraid that it's gonna ruin them, and she thinks that like Jorah said that Rhaegar was the last dragon. And then when they don't, she stares at these things till the fires go out. It's hours, right?
Yeah.
This thing burns
It's gonna
for
be a
hours.
while.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. I mean, depending on how much wood, but I would say
It's gotta be at least 2 hours. At minimum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
What's
It
the
really
point of
depends
having
on-
that in your room for like a light source if you have to like feed it all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't know how husky
Have
of a fire.
Yeah, I mean you're right, but
They already
I
said it's
assume-
hot. Like they
I assume
don't
it's a
have
decent
candles
time.
and shit around. Like I don't know.
So
I'm not
Drogo-
convinced it was
Eventually,
that long.
Drogo comes back after the fire burns out. Nothing happened with the eggs, and they have this giant dead white lion. Drogo's drunk. They're all laughing. He tells Dany. He shows Dany some cool scars he got on his leg from this lion, and he tells her he's gonna make a sweet cloak for her out of it. And then she basically tells him what happened, and he gets real quiet. And then after a while, he speaks. And,
Jorah. Well, no, Jorah's like, yeah, man, that's not gonna be the end of this.
oh yeah, Jorah tells him it's gonna keep happening.
Yeah, like this is gonna keep going on. Like people, that's a pretty high price. Like people will do a lot for that. So
Yeah.
Men will risk much for lordship.
And Jeff, you want to read Drogo's monologue there at the end?
No, yeah. Jogo, Jorah the Andal, to each of you I say, choose any horse you wish from my herds, and it is yours. Any horse save my red and the silver that was my bride gift to the moon of my life. I make this gift to you for what you did. And to Rhaegar, son of Drogo, the stallion who will mount the world, to him I also pledge a gift. To him I will give the iron chair his mother's father's sat in. I will give him 7 kingdoms. I, Drogo, Cal, will do this thing.
His voice rose, and he lifted his fist to the sky.
I will take my Khalasar west to where the world ends, and ride the wooden horses across the black water, as no Cal has done before. I will kill the men in the iron suits and tear down their stone houses. I will rape their women, take their children as slaves, and bring their broken gods back to Vaestarthrak to bow down to the mother of mountains. This I vow, Drogo, son of Barbo. This I swear before the mother of mountains, as the stars look down and witness.
That's sick. So they're probably all pumped, and this probably even got Dany pumped, even though he's talking about freaking raping other women and taking children slaves and shit.
My voice hurts from that.
That was good. Or do you think Dany, like halfway through that, or do you think Dany was like, yeah, whoa.
Turn it back a little bit.
Too
You're
far,
getting a
too
little out of
much.
hand.
Yeah.
She was probably off for it,
Yeah, I bet.
diddling herself to it.
She's probably ready for somebody else to get a chance so she can take a break. Sounds like she needs a break.
Then they leave 2 days later. They go southeast, kind of back the way they
Southwest.
came. Southwest.
Southwest.
Southwest,
Go
yeah.
west.
Southwest, yeah.
You're right. Kind of back the way they came. And how is this this wine merchant traveling?
He's naked,
He's naked.
chained to the horse,
Tied to Khaleesi's horse.
running behind it.
Dude, that sucks.
Over under, how long does he last?
No more than
4
2
days.
No more than 2.
Depends on if they're feeding him and whatnot.
Kyle, take your bets. How long does he last?
I mean, are we gonna even find out? I just assumed he wasn't gonna be around in the next chapter
No,
because
he's
I
not.
figured he was gonna be dead.
All right, so predictions on this Drogo's monologue, I guess.
Well, like I said, I mean, like the way that it all shifted so fast, it really threw me off. Like I thought it was gonna. So what I had thought was that something was gonna happen to the kid, and that was what was gonna send him there. Like, that's what they should. Well, I guess then the kid dies, but like that's what I thought was going to happen for sure. Was somebody from the West was going to kill Rhaego, and then that was when he was going to be like, all right, now we got to go. Because I thought it was that serious that they wouldn't head that way. And then, like I
think you said something like that last chapter.
It was like it was like a paragraph left in the chapter, and he's like, yep, never mind, I'm going. And it's like, all right, well, now I have no idea what's happening here.
Well, Jorah kind of convinced them by saying, hey, like, they're gonna keep coming.
And you might be right that they were more set in stone against this, like, because they do talk about in previous chapters that, like, this isn't gonna be something they just do willy-nilly. But I don't know. I thought it was something that they just kind of, like, never thought too much about one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a good prediction for this one. I know that's a weak way out, but they're going to keep heading west. I assume it's going to take them a while to get like boats and stuff together to get over there. Is probably the biggest setback here.
Yeah, I mean it seems like the Dothraki doesn't really care about like carrying around physical wealth, but from what Illyrio said before, kind of as soon as they approach free cities are like, yo, we'll kind of give you whatever you want as long as you don't kill us. So I think if Drogo came to like maybe like a few free cities together and was like, yo, give me, I don't know how many people he has or how many people fit on it per ship, but he's like, give me some ships, maybe they swing that. It's either that or get your city destroyed. I don't know. But it seems like that's how that would be the Dothraki way of acquiring ships, I would think. I'm not sure.
Hey,
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
you can bring them back after you drop us off.
That's true. Yeah, they wouldn't even need to buy them. They probably would just need they would need to rent them because there's no way the Dothraki know how to man them anyway.
So, Snooper for ships.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else we would want out of you for this one. Unless you crazy
I
shit.
hope that they have to do some of what you were saying on the way to kind of harden Dany some more. I don't know that she's really there yet in terms of she hasn't seen the fights that these dudes are going to put up.
Yeah, she hasn't seen a single like Dothraki.
I mean, she doesn't know shit about anything. She's 13. Yeah. Like, we talk about age all the time. Like, if anything, like Rob is a little bit in the same boat. Like, he's going to war. She's like green. Just like she's even younger and she's not there yet, but that's what she's headed for. Like in her mind, she's like, I'm going to war, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't think she knows what she's getting into.
I think at this point she doesn't have nearly the responsibility Rob does. So Rob literally has 12,000 soldiers' lives in his hands right now, and while she's the queen of a Khalasar, that's Drogo's responsibility.
Yeah, and he's been around the block. So
while she's riding a freaking
any predictions about the dragons? Do you think Heat is gonna be like what they like kind of along the lines of what Dany's doing? She's just not going big enough, or is there something special that needs to happen? We get these dragons out.
Do they actually come out?
I think she's got to sit on them for 6 months.
Okay.
Without moving.
She's got to squat them
like a chicken.
Yeah.
That's how bees hatch eggs.
Yeah, it's exactly how bees hatch eggs.
While they don't sleep.
Yeah.
Well, bees don't sleep. That's a fact.
I don't think it is, man.
I mean, John Ritchie went to Stanford, so he's pretty smart.
I think he's wrong.
I would hope he would look up some reliable sources, but he might have just Googled it.
I'm telling you,
I'm not the beekeeper. Come on.
I already told you my answer.
Cow doesn't know.
All right, well,
I told you my answer.
Any longer. If we have nothing else to say about this chapter, we'll call it here and jump into the spoiler section.
See you later, Cal. It was nice hanging out, friend.
Bye, Cal.
We'll see you on the next episode. Make sure you don't listen to the spoiler section, bud.
It looks like John Ritchie didn't do much.
All right, bye, Kyle.
Too much research. Bye, Kyle.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Cal. It was great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next episode for Sansa. No, sorry, Catelyn.
Oh my
7.
God! What a joke.
I don't know what it is.
The next cat one's a really good one. It's where Rob makes his plan to split forces at the Trident and do a fate on Tywin Lannister and trap Jaime in the Whispering Wood. It's where that plan gets set in motion.
Yeah,
and then we get Tyrion, and then we get Tyrion after that at the Green Fork. We get a couple of good chapters coming up.
What I was saying was it was a joke that Glow didn't know what chapter was next.
Oh, okay.
All right. I don't have any notes for this, but I just have a couple comments.
So, guys, now into the spoiler section of Danny 6. You got any hot takes on this one?
All right. Here's the big thing. Go ahead. I want to start. You stink. People want to hear my takes first because they always log off after it.
This is Kyle's show.
Did Jorah... Did he already know that they were poisoning her this day?
Before
I
the
don't
letter?
think that.
Did he already have that letter in his pocket?
No. He wouldn't have brought her to the market if he knew that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unless
Why?
it was a spur of the moment. Like
That's what I'm
stop
saying.
her.
Like, did he was like, oh shit, like I shouldn't do this type of deal?
I don't think so because I think he found out when he went to get the letter.
Yeah,
But,
I
but
agree with
what I
Nelson
was
there.
saying, was kind of a spoiler because I thought the letter was. I thought they said Varys and
Yeah.
Master Illyrio in the letter, not Viserys.
Yeah, you screwed that
I
up.
thought they said Varys too the first time I read
I
it.
didn't because I can
Did I?
read.
But we did know beforehand that Jorah was informing.
So Jorah had to have the thought, like he had to have known. He. I don't know how they would have got
He
him
should
word.
have assumed that the order was coming to get her killed.
Well, I don't know why you think he knew.
Because it was like, I mean, I guess it's his whole point was to just be an informant, but
Like, I could see maybe what Glow's saying, where maybe you assume that after the last piece of information you gave them was that she's pregnant, you can assume the next order back is going to be kill him.
no, I don't think it was an assumption. So, like, everything to this point has been like, hey, you're being an informant so you can come home. Why now is he like, other than he loves her? Does he love her?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
She
Do you
looks
love
like his
her?
old wife. I just finished the book today. I've been listening to the book on Audible. I was kind of continuing along to where we were, but I got wrapped up in some of the war stuff in the next couple of chapters and just finished it. And he starts like
didn't
confessing
stop?
his love and shit in the next couple of Danny's. He
To
says
who?
like my sword is yours, my heart is yours in the last Danny chapter of this book, like all that shit. One thing that I had that Glow might like is the sweet wine. The sweetest
Sweet.
wine you've ever tasted. Like the very first thing he says to her.
Miss that?
when I after this wine thing, I read it and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and if this dude doesn't fucking say this wine is sweet, Glow's whole theory is bullshit. And the very first thing he says about it is sweet wine. I was like, damn it.
Yup. Get fucked, dude. See, if something smells sweet, it's not right. That's so funny, Nels. I'm so pissed I didn't catch that. My one thing is, I don't know if we've discussed this before or not, but the whole 180 that is caused is from this attempt on Danny. Is this facilitated? Like, I don't think it is, but Nelson, do you think it was facilitated by anyone with a candle or something to
What,
make
the
that
attack or the stop of the attack?
the attack?
Nah,
Well,
I don't think
the whole course of events.
I don't think so. I think a lot of the candle stuff has to do with Danny's dreams, but all Danny's dreams, this book seemed to be like kind of setting up, at least as far as Danny goes, the dragon birth. Like her next one will be about a lot of fire and dragons and life for dragons, and she kind of the next chapter she's also gonna Miri Mazdor, which is kind of what Kyle's getting into. She's never seen the Dothraki in action. Next chapter she'll see the Dothraki in action. Drogo will get cut, and Miri Mazdor will meet Miri Mazdor.
Do they actually? I mean, I guess they do fight, right? That he fights his blood rider. That's the action.
Drogo kills a call and then kills the guy who becomes call during the battle. And they always
Wait, so Miri
killed two calls.
Miri Mazdor was a slave of the other call.
No, so it's crazy. Like, and this is actually crazy. The Lamb Men, and one of the theories I've heard is like, and we'll get into this more next chapter, but like Mir Mazdor is like is one of the most like highly skilled magic users we see in the fucking books ever. Right? She says she's trained in Ashai and with Maester Marwyn, who is like the head magic guy at the Citadel. Right?
She's
and
a
she just
faceless
happens
man.
to be, and she
She's
just
a
happens
faceless
to
man.
be in the fucking Lamb Men city, which is a place that's so prone, like so like obvious, like to kill me Dothraki, that when Drogo gets there, there's already another cow attacking the place. When he gets there, there's already another cow. When he gets there, there's already another cow attacking the place, and he kills the entire other Khalasar and the entire city. That's why there's 2 cows at this landman place. It doesn't make sense why how did he kill 2 cows? He attacked a lamb city. No, it's so ripe for the taking. Like, why is Mira Mazdor here?
They wouldn't go west to go see Mira Mazdor unless this happened.
That's true.
So that's
so
what I'm
maybe.
saying. Was this facility... Quaithe. I couldn't think of her name.
Quaithe. I just don't see how Quaithe would.
I just told you what happened. Mary Mazdor is a faceless man.
I don't know how that solves any of these problems.
I didn't hear you say that, but that makes
You
sense.
said it a few times.
I just think they're the actual people that are causing this whole thing.
There are a lot of like coincidental things coming up, right? Like, you're right, Chloe. They wouldn't run into Mira Mazdor this otherwise. Why is Mira Mazdor here? Like, it's all kind of weird. And then the last thing that I have, it's kind of riddled throughout my notes, Jeff. I don't know if you saw it. The Red Door.
Oh, yeah. I saw the Red Door a couple times.
So
Don't say anything
but
about it,
we
though.
don't actually know where it's at, so it's kind of...
that's the whole point. Is like she thinks it's in Bravos.
Yeah, she brought up
But you think
Bravos.
it's in Dorne
I think it's in Dorne.
because
So
of
I got-
lemon trees.
So also, one thing that you said that was kind of funny was when we were talking about the smells of the market that made her remember
Think of home.
What was it?
Garlic and... Pepper.
And Dorne is known for like having the spicy food in Westeros. And Jeff even says like, oh, they
And
must like
garlic?
their food spicy. Yeah, like peppers, garlic, like spicier foods.
It's garlic spicy?
No, but like peppers and stuff are. So the first quote about the Red Door was when she's thinking about Jorah's home. Jorah had his bare line about what was home for her. A few tales, names recited as solemnly as the words of a prayer, a fade memory of a red door. Was Vase Dothrak to be her home forever? So the faded memory of a red door. So I went back and I looked at all the other quotes about red doors. She remembered Sir William dimly, a great bear of a man, half blind, roaring and bellowing orders from his sickbed. The servants had lived in terror of him, but he had always been kind to Dany. He called her little princess, and sometimes my lady, and his hands were soft as leather. He never left his bed, though, and the smell of sickness clung to him day and night, a hot, moist, sickly, sweet odor. That was
Sweet.
when they lived in Bravos, in the house with the big red door. Dany had her own room there with a lemon tree outside her window. After Sir William had died, the servants had stolen what little money they had left, and soon after that they had been put out of the big house. Dany had cried when the red door closed behind them forever. That's in the first Dany chapter.
I mean, do we have any clue who that person would be?
Sir William Derry. So he was the master of
Okay.
arms.
Oh, I didn't know they said dairy.
Yeah,
I remember. I recognize that name.
I actually recently saw a theory about Sir William Derry, and this quote was brought up in particular, and I had this in my notes before I saw this theory. But I think what in this theory is being put out in a multiple part YouTube video, and they haven't really pointed out the main theory. There's just kind of getting evidence to it so long. But I think what it's going to come down to is there was multiple people that were pretending to be Sir William Derry. And one of the points is that he called her my little princess and sometimes my lady. And one of those is correct if you are considering Dany the series, right? Like kind of like what we're saying. Like, you wouldn't call one person normally wouldn't use both terms, right? You would either call them like your grace or my lord. Like, you would either get it right or get it wrong. Also, he was known as the master at arms at Winterfell, but she claims that his hands were soft as old leather, and like George uses hands a lot to describe like whether someone has like a physical trait or not. So people think that like maybe Varys or some. I think this theory is going down the path that like maybe Varys or something was also pretending to be
William Derry.
William Derry at some point in Dany's childhood, potentially.
I
next
could see
quote-
Varys calling her little princess.
Little princess or something like that, right?
Hmm.
So the next quote is in the same chapter. We'll have it all back someday, sweet sister. He would promise her. Sometimes his hand shook when he talked about it. The jewels and the silks, Dragonstone and King's Landing, the Iron Throne and the Seven Kingdoms, all they have taken from us. We'll have it back. The Saries lived for that day. All Daenerys wanted back was the big house with the red door and the lemon tree outside her window, the childhood she had never known. And then this is when Dany says, all I want to do is go home at the end of the first chapter, and Drogo's Mance.
Real quick, Nelson. she said the childhood she never known.
Yeah.
Well, she thought it was in Bravos and it was really in Dorne. She didn't
Exactly.
really know it.
She didn't know it.
Look at that.
Exactly.
How much is? I mean,
It's deep.
I don't know.
George.
I just
It's
have
real
I
deep.
have a lot of trouble with, like, you really don't remember shit until you're like 3 years old, we'd say.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know. I feel like
She's
she's
probably
been.
3 or 4
I
at
think
this age.
they normally say 4 years old is your first memories. Danny would have been about 4 when when William Derry died, I think.
All right. I don't know. I mean, there's just
the
so
only
much.
reason I know that is because this theory that I recently saw, and I don't know if I buy into it. Like, the one point of this theory was going really hard on, and so this is another Preston Jacobs theory. It's the most recent one. I think it's called like the Page of Lies, and it's literally all about like 1 or 2 pages in the first Danny chapter that are really don't make sense with the rest of everything we learn about, right? Like even the storm at Dragonstone that she leaves in. Dragonstone's really close to King's Landing, and Jaime gives an account of the night that they fled, and he doesn't mention a storm. Stannis was building a fleet in Blackwater Bay, and none of them were damaged by the storm that apparently destroyed the entire Targaryen fleet at Dragonstone. So there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't add up, right? But the one point that he like really focuses in on is that William Derry's a master at arms, but Danny, in this quote that I just read, describes him as a great bear. Somewhere in there, she describes him as like old and gray, and this guy's saying like, how could a master at arms be old and gray? And like, I even commented on the video and I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like the one master at arms that like we know of the most, Sir Roderick, is like, I literally got the quote from the Ned chapter where Ned like turns around at the brothel and it literally says like an old white haired man was running at him, and he grabbed his dagger before he realized it was Sir Roderick. And I'm like, there's literally the most prominent master at arms. So like, I don't know if I agree with this theory, but the red door, like what I'm trying to point out is the red door just comes up so often in Danny's chapters. We've had 6 of them. It comes up 3 times in the first chapter and then once in the third.
We go 5 books though with still not knowing anything more about a red door. Like a red door is never mentioned unless it's Daenerys. So like, at what point will the red door be tied into
Brought up
Westeros?
again.
Like
That's
you
what I'm
would.
wondering. Like, how crazy will it be? Like, if at the end of everything, if Danny is on the seat of the Iron Throne, right? What's the fucking? It's King's Landing, the Red Keep. It's made out of red brick. I would not be surprised if the door to
It's just the Red
was
Keep?
red. Well, no,
Yeah.
I don't think Danny. I don't think this is what Danny's remembering, but I could see this ending up being like some symbolic thing for. The Red Keep, or I could see it just be Danny at some point just like, you know what, fuck all this shit, I'm done, and she just kind of lives out a happy life as like a fucking person.
Wanderer?
Yeah, lemon tree grower. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't see that happening, but like it could go both ways, or it could just be evidence at the end that like maybe fucking we get an Arion Martell chapter and she goes to
Sunspear.
she goes to some place in Sunspear and there's like a giant house with a red door and a lemon tree outside the window, right? And we're all like, oh shit, right? That's probably that's the most likely thing is some other characters.
That's probably what's going to happen like that.
We get a
Yes.
bunch of Martell chapters, and like, I don't know. You would just hope like somewhere it would mention maybe like the structures just around Sunspear, and they're like, oh yeah, like a lot of times they have like
she's locked in a tower, right?
wouldn't it? Yeah, no, but it would be cool like if it said like, oh, and she was just staring at a red oak door, like, and she was just like in prison. It's just like
I mean, I
another
bet you we're
door.
gonna
It's
get
just
something
red
like
oak.
that.
You know what I
bet
mean?
you that's what we're gonna get, but he just didn't want to do it yet. We got a lot of book left to read.
I actually hope that there's a red oak door elsewhere. You know what I mean? Just like
Like
in
Winterfell.
fucking Mormon Island, and there's a red oak door.
So
and I'm
the-
like,
the
that
White
motherfucker
Walkers-
was north.
The White Walkers attack the fucking cave that Bran's in, and as they run out, the door that Hodor needs to hold, it's a red oak door.
Red
or
oak door.
Some shit, yeah.
And she was
Well,
north
did
of
you
the
guys
wall the
hear?
whole time.
Did you hear about George talking about that scene? He said it's supposed to be
Nah,
like
what?
it's supposed to be Hodor like holding a pass, like. So Bran's been practicing in Hodor's body sword fighting, so he's going to be like fighting zombies in a pass, and that's where they're saying hold the door, but really it's like hold the pass.
I did see that George confirmed that Bran will be king.
I heard that
Hodor was hold the door, and then there was like one other thing.
I heard that. I saw a video where someone was talking about like how fucked up it is that like Hodor's entire life, like the whole reason he says Hodor like that is because like weirwoods don't experience time. Right, like I think the Three-Eyed Raven says like people experience time as a river always flowing forward, whereas weirwoods are more like a lake where it's all the water's there and kind of accessible on any given time. And so somebody in this like video I was watching was explaining that like the reason Hodor says Hodor all the time is because whatever Bran does to him in Bran's future is going to go back in Hodor's past and basically just like kind of anchor him to a certain spot in the lake. So like, yeah, he's like kind of tied in this weirwood spot, but he's stuck in this one moment in time forever. And that's why that's the only thing he can say. It's like the only experience he ever experiences is this one moment in time. And like he's kind of like brain dead and able to like walk around and do other stuff, kind of on the level that like Khal Drogo is, but he's basically just like anchored to this like point in the Weirwood Lake, which is like kind of like a cool way to think about it, and also like a really sad way to think about it for Hodor, that like he doesn't get to experience anything.
Poor Hodor.
But we're way off topic for Danny. That was all I had. The Red Door stuff and the sweetness of the wine. It's kind of weird that like I don't remember any other specific events of like Joffrey, now that like kind of Joffrey's in charge, of him really caring about this. It seems like the whole like Daenerys Targaryen thing just completely gets dropped with Robert's death, right? As far as like King's Landing is concerned, at least for a couple books.
Well, I think, doesn't Tywin bring it up? I think Tywin knows about it, and he's like,
I mean, but like Jorah's point here is this is going to keep happening. And I don't know if Jorah, if Robert was alive, maybe, but like I don't think Jorah's right. This is going to stop right now. No one's going to give a shit.
well, the order's out, so people are still going to try.
That's
and they're
true.
Gonna be like, hey,
That's true.
hey,
but
I
like,
killed this bitch for you.
Yeah,
Give me
definitely
more
people
money.
still have that until word gets. I mean, you would think that word would cross the sea just as fast, though, too. You know what I mean?
but even if Robert's dead, people might think this is still valid, right? They might not think that like Cersei would deny them if they brought them a dead Dany. And who knows,
I agree
Cersei
with
might,
that.
but they might not. She might not. Who knows what Cersei would do? But fucking
Tywin hates.
most people who got this
Targaryen,
letter
so-
probably don't think that. Yeah. But like it seems like just from what I know about Dany's story, it seems like the hits on her life pretty much stop as far as like from Westeros
Yeah,
is concerned.
that's true. Do you
Well, I mean,
think
they start
Kyle has
going
any
to
idea that Khal Drogo is
bumblefuck
going to
cities.
die?
I kind of mentioned it to him in the last chapter. He said that I think the baby's gonna die because there's no baby in season 8, and
Yeah.
I said something like, "There's no Khal Drogo in season 8. Do you
yeah,
think
yeah.
Khal Drogo's gonna die?" And
You
then
kind of
Glow,
ruined.
and then Glow was like, "Spoiler," and I'm like, I didn't say he was gonna die. I'm just saying like Dany could leave Drogo and the baby behind or whatever. But yeah, we kind of talked about it, so he might think of it because of that. But I think besides that, nah. But I think as soon as he gets cut in the next chapter, he's gonna be suspicious because of what I said.
Yeah. I think he might forget. It's been a while since you said that.
Yeah, it
It
has.
has been a while.
I thought he was gonna bring it up today when he was talking about the baby, because he was talking about we were talking about that and the baby at the same time, dying. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else. No need to dilly dally. This will be
Me
a short
neither.
episode.
Let's get the hell out of here.
And we'll
The
see you
Night's
guys
Stalk.
in Catelyn
full
6 or
towers.
7. We're getting
Oh
up there.
my lord.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you tweet us, Nelson's gonna Venmo you.
Free $5, baby.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See y'all.